Alamin wa bihi nasta'in ala umuri dunya waddin wassalatu wassalamu ala asrofil anbiya'i wal mursalin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajmain amma ba'du. Praise to Allah who give us health and chance today, and peace and salutation to our Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Allahumma sholli ala sayyidina Muhammad wa ala sayyidina Muhammad. The Honorable Director of UIN Sultan Taha Saifuddin Jambi, the Honorable Head of Research Center of UIN Sultan Taha Saifuddin Jambi. Here we see the Mr. Fridianto, MPD, and the Honorable the respected families of Tengku, Lukman, Sinar, and Sultan Serdang. Students or participants joining us from various institutions today. Welcome to the international webinar organized by the Research Center of UIN Sultan Taha Saifuddin Jambi. My name is Alamin. I'm lecturer of UIN Sultan Taha Saifuddin Jambi in English Literature Program. Today's webinar is entitled Reimagining the Malay, Tengku, Lukman, Sinar, and his thought on Malay identity. Okay, before we begin the main session, allow me to invite several honorable guests to deliver the welcoming remarks. The first is my honor to invite Dr. Fridianto, MPD, the head of Research Center or LP2M UIN Sultan Taha Saifuddin Jambi, to deliver his welcoming remarks. Jadi Mr. Fridianto boleh menyampaikan dua patah kata untuk pembukaan ini. Thank you very much.
Terima kasih Pak Amin sebagai moderator. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Yang saya hormati Mr. Mehmet Ozai, thanks for your time, Mr. You have you give time for UIN Sultan Taha Saifuddin Jambi to sharing about Malay in Delhi Serdang to in study Tengku Lukman Sinar. Kemudian terima kasih pada sahabat saya Bapak Dr. Faisal Riza, Ketua Prodi Studi Islam di Pasca Sarjana UIN Sultan Taha Saifuddin Jambi. Terima kasih Prof sudah memfasilitasi pertemuan kita pada pagi ini. Bapak Ibu, perlu saya sampaikan pertemuan kita pagi ini karena karena fasilitasi Bapak Dr. Faisal Riza ya dari UIN Medan. Terima kasih sekali lagi dan juga hadir Saudara Bapak Tengku Lukman, Ibu Dr. Tengku Mira Sinar. Terima kasih Ibu sudah hadir pada pertemuan Zoom kali ini. Serta Bapak Ibu peserta webinar, biasanya nanti agak tengah jalan biasanya rame ini Bapak Ibu. Saya rasa pertemuan ini sangat penting ya kita mendengar hasil riset Pak Mehmet dan Pak Faisal tentang Tengku Lukman Sinar karena kita di Jambi khususnya juga memiliki budaya Melayu. Mungkin ada kawan-kawan dari UIN Jambi yang mungkin setelah pertemuan ini akan terinspirasi mencari sosok seperti Tengku Lukman Sinar ya, yang kalau saya baca luar biasa kiprahnya di dalam budaya dan penulisan sejarah Sumatera Timur. Itu nanti akan kita dengar secara panjang lebar dan kita diskusikan dalam waktu yang tersedia ini, Bapak Ibu. Terima kasih, saya rasa itu saja. Thanks, Mr. Mehmet. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you very much, Mr. Dr. Fridianto, MPD, for your warm and inspiring welcoming remarks. And next, it's our great honor to invite the representative of the family Tengku Lukman Sinar dari keluarga Tengku Lukman Sinar to deliver a few welcoming words, gitu kan, for Dr. Mira ya. Sepertinya seperti itu tadi disebutkan perwakilan daripada keluarga tokoh yang akan dibincangkan. The floor is yours, Ibu atau siapa? Halo? Ya, Dr. Tengku Mira Sinar. Oke.
Oh, Okay, oh, thank you very much.
Yes.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I have the
Salam.
place for this. Thank you, thank you. Ya, Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alamin. Puji dan syukur Alhamdulillah kehadiran Allah. Hari ini kita telah bersedia untuk mendengarkan ya seminar dan hasil daripada penelitian Bapak Mehmet dan Bapak Faisal. Terima kasih sekali lagi. It's very interesting about my late father. So actually, I had already wrote about my father because my thesis and that's a background of my late father and also the thought of my late father Tengku Lukman Sinar. So in Jambi, my late father also wrote about the history of Jambi. So thank you very much for all the audience and especially Win Sultan Taha Jambi. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Oh, thank you very much. The warm remarks from the family of Tengku Lukman Sinar. We truly appreciate your participation in today's event.
Thank you.
Next, I don't know if it's here or not, but from the list, I see the representative of family of Sultan Serdang also. Apakah ada juga seperti itu?
Still on the way, maybe.
Okay, thank you, thank you. If
Yeah.
not, if we can go right, we're gonna move to the next event. Okay.
Actually,
Now,
I'm sorry.
yeah.
Actually, I'm representative of the Sultanate of Serdang also because I'm the leader of the Yayasan, the foundation of Kesultanan Serdang.
Ah,
So it's okay if
okay.
myself.
Thank you, Dr. Mira. I don't think so before, but thank you very much about the explanation about that.
So
Yeah.
I representative of my father because I'm the youngest, and also from the Sultanate of Serdang. So it's okay. Thank you.
Okay, now we move to the next agenda. Is before we see the presentation about the Tengku Marsinar, I'm gonna introduce our speakers today. We have two very interesting speaker and outstanding, I think. The first speaker I would like to extend is Dr. Mehmet Ozai. Maybe I'm gonna call him professor actually, but he rejected. But I think his professor is really good at this topic. It's my great pleasure to introduce Mr. Mehmet Ozai from International Institute of Islamic Thought and Civilization, ISTAC, International Islamic University Malaysia, IUM. Okay, I'm gonna read some word here. Professor, Dr. or Mr. Ozai specialized in Islamic intellectual history, Ottoman Malay relations, Southeast Asian Islam, and Trans-Regional Muslim Network. Welcome, Professor or Mr. Ozai. Thank you for joining us today. And the second speaker is also my pleasure to introduce is Dr. Faisal Riza from the Faculty of Social Science, UIN Sumatera Utara, where he served as the head of doctoral program in Islamic Studies. Yes? Are you here, Dr. Faisal Riza? Hello?
Yes, he's with us.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Thank you so much. Okay, I think without further ado, I would like to invite Professor Mehmet Ozai or Mr. Mehmet to deliver his thought and presentation. Mr. Mehmet, the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you very much, brother Dr. Amin.
Yes.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam.
Selamat pagi, selamat siang to everyone, especially the administrative staff, teaching staff at University of Sultan Taha, Saifuddin in Jambi, in particular Dr. Fredianto and Dr. Al-Amin. And later on, I will thank you one more time to the family of late Tuanku Lukman Sinar, in particular Tengku Mira and Tengku Rio, and my close research associate, Dr. Faisal Ruza. So I am very delighted to have been invited by the Sultan Taha Saifuddin University Program Study Sastra Inggris UIN, and I wish that this platform will be a learning opportunity of the works and ideas of late Tunku Lukman Sinar. It should be a collective effort, not a monologue or monopoly of the platform. So please, I invite every of you to join anytime by your comments, by your statements during our talk. I would like to start before dealing with Sinar and his thoughts. Let me say something about Taha Saifuddin, Sultan Taha Saifuddin. When I got the invitation last week, I got happier and surprised because of few things, including the name of Sultan Taha Saifuddin. In fact, I came across this name like others during my routine survey in Ottoman Archive some years back. And again, recently, I have been refocusing on the same data for my further study. I understand that Taha Saifuddin's international political attempts, which first occurred in 1858, just a few years after he was elevated to the throne in Jambi, and were later repeated in 1904, again just 1 year earlier when he passed away. He, in his own political environment, appeared as one of the distinguished Malay rulers, attempted to challenge the colonial incursions of a Western European country in the mid of 19th century, and his struggle lasted almost half a century as a single fighter against the domination of that colonial process. We have fewer but important documents related to his international engagement in the Ottoman archives, some of which I elaborated in one of my early articles published in 2019. And I am continuing my study by rechecking my old data and finding new data in archival sources. In particular, the most important element that I observe is the policies and political actions developed and maintained by Sultan Taha Saifuddin. It's possible to put it into the scope of political epistemology. So this is just a warm-up session why I got happier beyond this a few other reasons to be over here as a guest to this institution atas nama Sultan Taha Saifuddin. So before going into details on the themes of culture and adat in different contexts, which were fundamental to Sinar's thought, I would like to briefly touch on some issues I consider as a kind of warm-up session, including a few statements probably from Dr. Faisal Reza. This short event is a part of our research activity. Officially, me and Dr. Faisal Reza, but unofficially, all individuals can be considered our research partners. At the same time, I hope we will see our weaknesses in this survey through your significant questions and comments. I say weaknesses because based on my observations, more people have already studied and published works on the biography and ideas of the late Sinar, as mentioned by his daughter, Tengku, Dr. Mira. How many people in total studied him, his thoughts? Well, yes, this could be included in our research scope, at least statistically, very important. We can provide data on the researchers, writers by scope of their studies, themes, age groups, genders, etc. I may call these individuals Sinar-inspired researchers. Nevertheless, this powerful academic activity does not seem to have evolved into a sustained cultural movement, including the publication of any periodicals, as far as I know. If vice versa, well, I will get happier. I will not hesitate to pronounce that while I have been surveying Sinar's works, I have not come across any Ottoman Turkish connections. It is, in fact, a good sign in a cultural and intellectual context because till today, many friends, including academicians and members of NGOs, would like to connect themselves to the Ottoman sphere of power to a lesser or greater extent. I claim in this stage that late Sinar was an inward-looking intellectual rather than an outward-looking one. Put another way, he produced power through his own cultural and intellectual sources. His discourses are essentially reactionary, but what he sustained is that his inner power is bound to his own social entity. This is very important. Sinar's works as a conversion of his thoughts seemed to be building a social organization or a suggestion to build a social organization. His retrospective attempts were in fact necessary to realize this rebuilding. It is also likely that this process contributed to his own personal rebuilding. There are two stages I suggest. The first one, the material, probably institutional, social organization. The second one, throughout his own works, his intellectual ventures, he also built himself. Here I am forced to utilize or suggest the German concept Bildung. So hopefully we will read some details later on in published articles, I hope. Sinar invited his own society, particularly North Sumatran Malay communities, to an intellectual world. Whether the latter means that these Malay communities, particularly in North Sumatra, are aware of it or not. This is another issue. And his attempts culturally served to create stability, which was disrupted by various social disruptions. I would like to say something about his intellectual background. This is very important, although some more of you are aware of it, but let me pronounce my own ideas. Sinar was guided and nurtured not only by his father, means Sultan Süleyman, but also his elder brother, particularly, namely Tengku Raji Anwar, who took the post after the demise of Sultan Süleyman. And I believe that he was also nurtured by his other brothers, Tengku Şahriyar Sinar and Tengku Abunawar Sinar. And it was a slow but inherently dynamic process of transformation. It is also felt that an unseen hand played a role in Sinar's preparation for his future post. He enhanced the reputation of Malay as a developer of ideas and practices in North Sumatra. His venture into culture and adat was a refinement of it, shaped by diverse influences and competition. One short note, then I will go into my major talk, by your permission, inshallah. I consider that Tunku Lukman Sinar contributed to the establishment and maintaining of cultural imagination. What I mean by this cultural imagination, he was a constructor, not a deconstructor, a system builder, a constant believer in the culture and adat. He was open-minded about understanding systems beyond the Malay context as well. And he surveyed other communities in North Sumatra, as stated by Edi Ihsan. He was conscious of their ontological and epistemological values. He was not representing intellectual sophistication, but was sincerely optimistic about his intellectual commitment. And here I suggest a few concepts to describe his works and ideas. These are cultural socialization and cultural justice. Let me repeat, cultural socialization and cultural justice. Probably I may add a few more concepts throughout our survey, inshallah, in coming months. So these are very, very information, what I perceived or we perceived, Dr. Faisal Riza. And now I would like to inform you if there is any comments, please welcome. Any questions, please welcome. Otherwise, I will continue. Dr. Amin, I follow your guidance.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Ozai, for your insightful and inspiring talk and presentation. Now it's my pleasure to invite Dr. Faisal Riza. Dr. Faisal, are you ready?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Amin, and also all friends from UIN Sultan Hasil in Jambi. So I'm just adding some information that strengthen the argument of this concern, especially about Tengku Lukman Sinar. So it could be argued that Tengku Lukman Sinar intellectually legacy represents to us project of Malay cultural revivalism. We can trace the history of social revolution perhaps in 1946, written by Lukman Sinar, written by Anthony Reid, also written by Muhammad Said about revolusi sosial 1946 yang telah memberikan catatan keruntuhan Kesultanan Melayu di Sumatera Timur, and also the big wave about of Republican movement that supporting nationalism of Indonesia. So Lukman Sinar, through historical story, he reconstructed and also make cultural preservations, and he write many story about Malay Sultanate, especially Serdang. It is a kind of production of knowledge about Malay identity. So he sought to reconnect contemporary Malay society with its collective memory while reinforcing the cultural foundations of Indonesian nationhood. This is the complexity of historical dimension when Lukman Sinar become one of writers of his own history, his own identity, his own Malay. So we can say that by the historical, intellectual history courses. We can say that the dimension of the historical intellectual history can make some dimensions such as historical memory, cultural preservation, identity construction, knowledge production, and also nation building in the context of Eastern Sumatra, Sumatra Timur. Because as I said before, that the social revolution in here many traumatic historic, including by Sultanate family members and also the people here. So the core ideas of historical memory that written by Lukman Sinar is reconstructing the history of Malay kingdom and communities in East Sumatra, and also safeguarding Malay customs, traditions, and institutions, rearticulating the meaning of Malayness in modern society, linking Malay heritage to Indonesian national identity. So, if we read many books from Lukman Sinar, we can say that historical writings, archival documentation, local historiography as the manifestations of reconstructing the history of Malay that made by or that reconstructed by Lukman Sinar. From his writing, Malay people understand studies on other royal institutions in Malay kingdom, cultural heritage preservations, discourse on Malay cultures, language, symbol, and traditions. So many books written by Lukman Sinar, and also the archive in his library in the city, that maintained by Tengku Mira. It is important as intellectual heritage, or we can say this is the legacy of Lukman Sinar.
Sorry to interrupt, Dr. Faisal. Do you have a PowerPoint to share, or just monologue also like Mr. Mehmet?
Yeah.
Maybe if you have a PowerPoint or PPT, it's really helpful.
Okay.
Thank you.
You can see the
Yes.
yes.
I'm sorry, Dr. Faisal, some friends are requesting check up bahasa Melayu. Boleh juga ya, kalau Anda menjelaskan tema itu di dalam bahasa Indonesia. Silakan.
Okay.
Sorry.
Oke, saya pakai bahasa Indonesia aja mungkin lebih lancar. Jadi posisi saya itu mendukung saja sebagai co-researcher Mehmet Ozai dalam hal ini. Tapi dalam bacaan saya dengan dokumen-dokumen yang kami teliti, Lukman ini mempunyai proyeksi ya, sebagai seorang intelektual itu membangkitkan kebudayaan Melayu, tentu dalam konteks yang lebih baru, dalam setting sosial politik di mana beliau lahir dan berkembang. Kita bisa mentrace bacaan-bacaan di era kemerdekaan 1930 ke 1950, di mana kita harus mengerti betul konteks di Sumatera Timur ya, Bapak Ibu sekalian. Terutama ada peristiwa di mana deklarasi atau proklamasi kemerdekaan di level nasional, di Jakarta misalnya, di Jawa, itu sudah banyak daerah-daerah yang bergabung. Tetapi di Sumatera Timur itu masih terjadi pergulatan politik di sini. Nah, itu banyak dicatat oleh para sejarawan yang diantaranya misalnya Anthony Reid, Muhammad Said, pendiri Koran Waspada, dan juga Tengku Lukman sendiri. Saya ingin mengatakan dalam konteks ini, ketika kita berangkat dari proses pergulatan politik kebangsaan di masa revolusi sosial 1946, ini mengandaikan kita bisa membayangkan Lukman Sinar itu ingin mengkonstruksi identitas Melayu, pengetahuan Melayu sebagai sistem politik, sosial, kebudayaan yang lebih adaptif terhadap perkembangan sosial pada saat itu. Karena tekanan-tekanan politik, tekanan sosial kebudayaan di luar keluarga kerajaan itu sangat tinggi waktu itu, sehingga penting mendialogkan kemelayuan untuk keberterimaan sosial politik di masa itu. Nah, dalam konteks ini Tengku Lukman Sinar itu bermain ya, memproduksi pengetahuan tentang sejarah Melayu, adatnya, atau hal-hal yang terkait dengan apa namanya, dengan keraton Melayu, ya, istana. Bagaimana Melayu kemudian diterima dalam struktur sosial politik yang baru, di mana imajinasi yang berkembang pasca 1945 itu orang lebih membayangkan itu bergabung menjadi republik. Kemudian orang juga trauma terhadap istana waktu itu. Nah, dalam konteks ini kita harus memahami bagaimana produksi pengetahuan yang dikerjakan oleh Lukman Sinar itu sendiri. Karena itu, kalau kita menggunakan pendekatan intellectual history, setidaknya ini beberapa dimensi yang bisa dikembangkan, sebagaimana terlihat di layar. Itu Lukman Sinar itu setidaknya kalau saya ya membacanya itu, bagaimana dia itu merekonstruksi sejarah Melayu, kemudian komunitas Melayu Sumatera Timur, kemudian bagaimana dia memberi pendampingan atau mengamankan atau semacam memberi Melayu, adat Melayu sebagai satu etika pandu hidup. Itu diperkenalkan kembali dalam tulisan-tulisannya. Kemudian juga dia mengartikulasi kembali makna-makna bagaimana menjadi Melayu yang modern pada masyarakat yang lebih baru, terutama pasca kemerdekaan, pasca Sumatera Timur bergabung menjadi salah satu wilayah bagian di Indonesia. Nah, itu juga eh, kita juga bisa memahami ide-ide utama yang sangat mungkin dikembangkan di arena dalam setting sosial politik seperti yang saya ceritakan tadi itu secara singkat, itu adalah bagaimana melakukan perubahan-perubahan ya beberapa nilai atau beberapa adat dalam Melayu itu masuk ke dalam arena kajian yang diterima. Ya. Dan yang terakhir yang lebih penting lagi itu adalah bagaimana kita membaca pikiran-pikiran Lukman ini, yaitu dia mengajak keterimaan masyarakat terhadap perubahan sosial politik yang baru. Dalam hal ini bergabung menjadi kebangsaan yang baru, yaitu kebangsaan Indonesia. Walaupun dia adalah bagian dari yang katakanlah korban ya, korban secara politik perubahan. Saya kira itu sebagai ya tambahan sedikit dari yang disampaikan oleh Mehmet tadi. Terima kasih.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Faisal Riza. Now we move to the question answer session, I think.
I'm sorry, Doctor.
Yep.
Amin.
Yep,
By the
yep.
way, I have not finished my presentation.
Oh,
I
yeah.
have many things. But
Oh,
again, please stop me anytime, or any audience, please stop us, and they will involve and share their ideas.
Okay, okay. If you do not finish, you can continue actually, Mr. Mehmet.
Oke, first of
We
all,
still have
terima
time.
kasih atas Bapak Dr. Faisal Riza. Lebih jelas daripada presentasi saya harus hati-hati di di argumentasi saya. Thank you very much, Brother Alkaf, reminding us talking in Bahasa. Let me escape from Bahasa and turn back to English. I will share, inshallah, the documents in Bahasa Indonesia. Let me share a very brief. I have not prepared intentionally PowerPoint because this is discussion, intellectual discussion. We don't need PowerPoints. So, Tengku Sinar, the title, A Guide for the Malay Community, a glimpse of Sinar's intellectual life and contribution. So, this is the framework of our study, or at least the presentation today to share with you. Again, we are not more ambitious to tell significantly about Sinar's thoughts, because we should be careful, as in various writings, including the Tengku books. Sinar produced very many documents, speeches, journal articles, books. So to be able to contain all this takes time. It is not easy for 1 year research project. I should frankly tell this to everyone. So today I touch some elements, but I will continue. As you see on the screen, long Juryu means that the Malay race. I guess I should skip this one because everybody knows better than me what the roots historically, anthropologically Malay. But I may say something. I also perceive throughout the writings of Sinar, Malay, yes, ethnic group, but it is a diminishing importance because it is very contemporary, very nation state oriented concept, ethnicity. Malay, what we understand anthropologically, containing all the human societies in this geography, means that Malay archipelago. Again, this conceptualization came from the Western visitors, travelers, etc. But we may find the justification still to contain, to attach to this conceptualization. Again, I mean, ethnicity to me, to my understanding, quite problematic, quite divisive. There are some more elements which unite all the people over here rather than become divided. So, the second element, culture and adat, of course, the whole dimensions, thoughts of Sinar going around to these elements. Of course, rightfully, Dr. Faisal touched the political issues. It is correct. But what I perceive again, Tengku Sinar was very careful in his development of ideas. I may say he picked up some avenues safely and sustainably developed, not the other way, political movements. He did not touch this area, but it does not mean that what he did is lesser important than the other activities. No. I suggested in my early talk cultural socialization. In fact, we can enrich this cultural socialization by our own definitions. Probably it may include political scope. Why not? So the other elements after culture and that dichotomy, center and periphery. In fact, in this title, under this title, what brother Dr. Faisal mentioned, the political dimensions, I extend this center periphery not just 1945, 1946 issues, but very contemporary until the last years of Tengku Sinar. I will read few paragraphs, hopefully. Social pathology, what the, Dr. Faisal mentioned this one as, I think, trauma, right? So I prefer pathology. The last one, or the one another, cultural politics. It is probably related to culture and adat, of course. Sinar himself was a social constructivist. We always use this concept, right? Construction, reconstruction, deconstruction. In fact, his constructivism, as I mentioned briefly earlier, started from his own self, building himself as a descendant of well-established Malay ruling system, traditional Malay ruling policies, polities, one of them in North Sumatra. And at the same time, while he was trying to overcome this trauma experienced by the whole people in North Sumatra, not only just Kerajaan people, I guess, but at the same time, he rebuilt the community, reaching until the center. In this context, center is nation state. Okay, so I hope I will. Okay, let me keep my file open here. The other one, if anyone they may have a look. Okay, there is one more. Yes, this one. Okay, by your permission, Dr. Amin, I wish to continue. If it gets a bit more boring, please remind me, I stop. Okay, so Tengku Sinar was an eminent individual raised in the family of Serdang Code. He spared his entire life for the study and the revival of Malay culture. His inspiration was not only his own family, but the Malay culture in general. This talk is based on our survey about the intellectual contribution of the Sinar today, etc. I should confess that it is highly questionable whether any single article can contain all Sinar's ideas. let me provide you a short note related to Prof. Schurig, a sociologist during the time of the late decades of the Dutch colonialism. This is a direct quotation. Dia Lingeren stated in her obituary notice about Schurig, Schurig's ethnographic and historical publications have won respect, but can only be adequately evaluated by specialists in Southeast Asian field and when all his unpublished work is available. I think this is very exactly similar condition of Sinar's thought and his works. I advocate the further attempts to combine, to collect all his works, written oral sources, and put in order chronologically, conceptually, etc. It will be a nice PhD work, a few PhD works, in fact. It is known that Sinar produced more than 600 articles in various formats and dozens of books. This refers to the difficulties in surveying all this huge data. This is known, I guess, I pass. In this inception, I would like to say a few things about Malay drawing on Sinar's own thoughts. If one considers the history of Serdang as a political entity that emerged in the early 7th century, one may conclude that the concept of Malay as a political and cultural entity has been valid, legitimate since then. And Sinar clarifies this point by stating that our ancestors, he says, our ancestors established these rules hundreds of years ago based on the experiences, character, behavior of that ethnic group, as well as natural phenomena that maintain the balance of the cosmos and the peace of that community. However, in practice, we do not possess any reliable historical sources that discuss this issue in detail. But it is true that contemporary discussions, as observed in Sinar's speeches and publications, present the Malay concept across its political and cultural domains as retrospectively correct. So I will continue the Malay concept by your permission, or I shall move to culture and adat because of some similar things probably over there. Let me remind a few things. The Malay language, one of the elements of this cultural dimension, of course, the Malay language, and it supports my humble argument that the whole geography can be considered Malay, quote unquote Malay, because of the linguistic factor. So the Malay language and all its derivative concepts are rich enough to handle. The literature since the early centuries informs us about them in recent history due to colonial presence and the ideologies it triggered. Foreign and local researchers have developed narratives about those ideologies. The writers such as Haji Yaakob, Palindungan, Anthony Reid, Lothar Sultan, Richard Vincent. In addition, some Sumatran academics and intellectuals such as Dr. Ali Shahbana, Tawfiq Abdullah, Ali Hashimi are also very important for their insights on this subject. Okay. Culture and adat in the context of ontology and epistemology. So, I mean, the discussions, yes, social realities, yes. But beyond this, we should see some different supranatural dimensions in the discourses from the philosophers, from the thinkers. I sense that Tengku Lukman Sinar, one of them in the Malay context, he provides us very strong, powerful ontological, epistemological basis. What it means. It is observed that Sinar utilizes both concepts together. For instance, he states that culture and adat. For instance, he states in one of his latest writings, the customs and culture we possess today have been supplemented, modified, and tested over those hundreds of years. This is very big, powerful, traditional perspective. In this context, it is worth arguing that Sinar's perseverance in cultural studies is evident, and he proves it throughout his lifelong works and activities, etc. I mentioned the names before. He is considered as tokoh adat. It is very nice conceptualization utilized by the local indigenous cultural terminology. Some describe him traditional leader of North Sumatra Malay communities. But again, my point is that he's beyond this local sphere. Tokoh adat Malay Sumatera Utara from Elden. He spent his life studying, analyzing, and reconstructing the Malay culture in North Sumatra. His efforts are widely regarded as valuable for people from diverse segments of society, inspiring them to revive the values of Malay culture. The term culture used here should be understood in a general sense, namely encompassing the whole life cycle of a Malay community. That's why I say this conceptualization is more not material sense, not social reality, but beyond it ontologically. Without delving into comparisons among Malay communities, I will examine Sinar's steps and the extent to which he developed the idea of reviving the Malay cultural setting. No doubt his interest began in his own homeland. It gradually extended to nearby, historically settled communities along the coastal zones of the Strait of Malacca in North and East Sumatra. I may briefly argue that communities that do not regard themselves as Malay by name, however, share cultural settings with those addressed by Sinar. Cultural socialization. Sinar's writings in various forms and formats, as well as his public talks, facilitated the cultural socialization of the Malay Adat system. Namely, his thoughts of culture was strongly bound to Malayness. It is necessary to provide a brief definition of culture, then we may understand what I mean by cultural socialization. It is suggested by some authors as follows. The problem of culture as a field of realization of freedom, a field of activity, and self-expression becomes extremely important. The mentioned self-expression deserves importance, in particular during the crisis moments in individuals and society's distinctive life periods. That's the point which I refer to build German terminology. Sinar initiated his own repairing process, quote unquote, repairing process to escape, to overcome the trauma, lived experience, or observed, then extended this one to others, the larger community. In other words, a crisis is related to identity problems in society. It is observed that cultural hegemony that appeared, this is second stage, it is observed that cultural hegemony that appeared in the second half of the 20th century caused depression in local indigenous cultural zones. Those processes were both products of newly emerging nation states' cultural policies and of the global culture center's soft power establishment. The earliest forms of cultural socialization were observed in the 1930s, as Omar refers to Sinar's writings. According to these, Malay ethnic associations were founded, maintained by the Sultanate ruling families or by other prominent Kerajaan leaders. And besides others, two associations for the preservation of Malay national and cultural identity were established in Serdang. This is obvious. Sinar intended to surely and gradually reconstitute the Adat system. He set the standards for his own academic and intellectual discourse and disseminated his ideas through various channels. I argue that Sinar not only learned, but also significantly internalized, this is very important, internalized because of the building process, the Malay Adat, and remained a close observer of it throughout his life. The process as itself very important and meaningful, even without looking at the result. Whether he succeeded or not, this process witnessed an intellectual venture. He operationalized his abstract knowledge by putting all accumulated knowledge into practice through distinct institutionalization, starting with his own family circles, including music groups, right? Establishment of the yayasan, educational aspect, etc. Here I wish to compare the points of view of two people who might be called academic friends, namely Sinar and Anthony Reid. Both had known each other since the 1970s. Nevertheless, when one reads certain papers focusing on Malay concept, which I may say Malayness, one observes the distinction between their approach. While Reid emphasizes Malayness from a modern nationalist perspective, Sinar considers this concept primarily ontological and epistemological terms. Means that it is not a simple practical practicing elements of the cultural and that system, but beyond it. It is exactly the coming from the epistemological supranatural dimensions. Okay. It's observed that Sinar's approach to traditional institutions, which I understand in this context of Malay Adat and cultural in general, also encounters some critical views. I sense that this is related and in line with the above-mentioned ontology and epistemology. This is a short note from a conversation in Waspada 2002, during the time he was Delantic as a sultan. Besides the idealist perspective, Sinar also responded to the question of whether a new type of feudal structure will appear or not. So this is a critical way, it's understandable. But the response is very important. His answer was based on his own historical and cultural perspective as follows. Feudalism is synonymous with the oppression of the people, and it only exists abroad for foreigners. We know that the people are the voice of God. How can we resist God's voice? After all, I have spent a lot of money to revitalize the indigenous community. So he responds to the journalist, very important. I mean, we know that the people are the voice of God. How can we resist God's voice? So this is a novel, a local interpretation of the social political settings. Probably need to be elaborated more. This perspective resonates with the distinct epistemological source. In other words, Sinar argues that the political concept of feudal does not apply to the Malay context in the archipelago by arguing that the monarch or monarchy is not the source of power. Still, the people and the letter's voice are considered sacred. This is very powerful statement. Okay. Dr. Amin, continue or any questions, any comments? Please welcome. Probably I may end by this centered periphery.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mehmet. I think it's very clear about the Tengku Umar Sinar and the influence of him when his life, I think if we maybe we can know many things from you, and this is really not enough because the limit of time. But some question may be good if it's come from the participant. Yes. Jadi Bapak Ibu, sebetulnya sangat banyak sekali yang bisa kita pelajari dan tentu saja waktunya tidak cukup kalau untuk mengetahui dan mendapatkan banyak hal dari Mr. Mehmet. Tidak cukup waktunya. Tapi dari apa yang sudah dijelaskan tadi, tentunya saya yakin dan percaya Bapak dan Ibu sudah mendapatkan insight dari apa yang beliau katakan, dan kalau ada pertanyaan silakan langsung boleh ditanyakan. Kalau tidak, mungkin ada penjelasan tambahan dari Dr. Riza, boleh juga dalam bahasa Melayu terkait dengan temuan-temuan apa yang sudah dilakukan. Nah, itu boleh juga. Bagaimana?
Dipersilakan dulu aja pada kawan-kawan di sini Bapak Ibu yang mau komentar atau karena ini catatan mengenai Lukman Sinar ini banyak sekali ya. Namanya peneliti kita anggap semuanya penting. Tapi kebutuhan teman-teman ini bagaimana, mungkin ada semacam replikasi untuk kebutuhan di Jambi atau pengalaman penelitian masing-masing, kan ini yang menarik kan. Ya, kalau betul. Temuannya lengkapnya nanti dibaca artikelnya kalau udah publish aja. Ini kan
Baik, baik.
spill tipis-tipis.
Ya. Nah, gitu.
Alkap itu Alkap baru ngomong.
Ya, terima kasih Pak Dokter. Jadi bagaimana Bapak dan Ibu sekalian, gitu ya. Kalau mau lengkapnya nanti publish artikel yang udah selesai, itu banyak tuh yang bakal ditemukan. Jadi untuk kegiatan ini kita buka question and answer session dulu ya, karena mengingat waktu nanti tidak cukup kalau terlalu lama. Silakan, boleh dari siapa saja. Boleh angkat tangannya, raise hand in chat box juga boleh, atau mau langsung nanya ke pemateri Pak Dr. Faisal atau Mr. Mehmet, silakan.
Tuh, Pak Dion, Pak Amin,
Ya, ya,
Mr.
Pak
Dion.
Dion. Mr. Dion, oke. Boleh Mr. Dion.
Ada suara.
Nggak ada suara.
Mr. Dion.
Mr. Dion, silakan Mr. Dion. Atau Needle?
Yes.
Oke.
In bahasa or in English?
Kalau ke Dr. Faisal boleh Indonesia, kalau mau ke Mr. Mehmet in English, oke.
Oke.
Mehmet, nasılsın?
Teşekkür ederim. Allah razı olsun. Siz nasılsınız?
Nasılsın? Teşekkür, alhamdulillah.
Bagus.
Mehmet, I have a question for you. You look really careful when you discuss about politics on Tengku Sinar. Why is it so? Why is it you really careful when you mention about politics? And that's my first question. And my second question is, how you identify Sinar? Is he a sultan? Is he an author? Is he a tokoh adat? Or who is he actually? But you need to choose one, not like all of them, because from your explanation, I can see that you identify more than one. He can be a sultan, he can be a tokoh adat, he can be maybe a revolutionary or like Malayu adat. So that's my questions to Pak Mehmet and also for Sepian dari Medan. Thank you, Pak Amin.
Ya, thank you, Mr. Dian.
Teşekkür.
Teşekkür. Sağ ol.
Turkish, Okay. Thank you. Mr. Mehmet, do you wanna langsung?
Probably I missed some points in the first question. I'm not clear. Please correct me. I understand that why Sinar was hati-hati di dalam bidang politik, right? So, I mean, the first thing. No. How is it the question?
Kenapa kamu hati-hati membicarakan Sinar?
Me?
Ya, betul. Betul. Bukan Sinarnya yang hati-hati.
Saya. Okay, baik. Number one, I mentioned that he has very huge collections of writings. To deal with these writings takes time, definitely. This is obvious. That's why, till today, I have observed two distinguished concepts, culture and adat system. Not much political conceptualization came from him, but both. Again, I briefly touched during my presentation, when we extend the scope of cultural socialization, definitely culture touches the political area, either local politics or regional politics or nation-state politics. This is obvious. In fact, the politics every time, anytime with us, for us. But when the time comes to academic description and explanation, that's why I say academic disciplinary perspective. We must be careful until we find enough data to claim that by referring to him, to claim that particular terminology and explanation. I think this is correct. This is enough. The second one is, yeah, I agree how we status or which status we should call Sinar. But again, if I call Sultan, not the political hesitation, but something beyond the cultural, intellectual dimension. Cultural, Sultan is uh, a kind of the status recognized, legitimate, but it does not satisfy me to explain his ideas. So I prefer his culturalist or intellectual or thinker. We know the history, right? We look at, let's say, Ottoman history. We cannot call, let's say, many of the sultans in Ottoman political history thinkers, right? They are just sultan, they're just rulers. But the thinkers, different terminology, I guess. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mohammed. Is that clear, Mr. Jan Jinanto? Yeah. Okay. Thank you. The next question is come from Nidal that raised hand. Nidal, hello. Ada pertanyaan yang angkat tangannya, ada Nidal namanya, itu siapa itu? Boleh silakan langsung ditanyakan.
Oke, terima kasih Bapak Amin. Saya Nia.
Iya.
Ya, ini saya mengaku di sini saya ini masih awam ya, masih bodoh, tidak tahu apa-apa soal Tengku Lukman Sinar. Saya penasaran sebenarnya dengar namanya udah lama, tapi nggak tahu kontribusi peran beliau itu apa gitu. Yang saya mau tanyakan itu ada dua. Satu, mungkin terserah aja apakah mau dijawab oleh Pak Faisal atau Pak Mehmet. Pertanyaan yang pertama itu saya penasaran definisi kemelayuan Tengku Lukman Sinar itu apa ya? Apakah dia ini nggak tahu ya, karena yang meneliti pasti mungkin bisa meraba-raba gitu. Sebenarnya kalau definisi kemelayuannya Tengku Lukman Sinar itu seperti apa? Apakah terkait dengan politik atau semacamnya gitu. Saya jadi mau penjelasan lebih lanjut aja. Yang kedua, kalau misalnya Tengku Lukman Sinar itu hidup sekarang dan menyaksikan perdebatan identitas politik yang ada di Indonesia dan Malaysia soal kemelayuan itu, kira-kira sikapnya Tengku Lukman Sinar itu bakal bagaimana? Karena kan akhir-akhir ini kan di sosial media tuh ada ramai ya, perselisihan pendapat antara orang Melayu di Indonesia dengan orang Melayu misalnya secara kenegaraan ya, misalnya orang Indonesia tidak tahu banyak bahwa ada kaum Melayu di Indonesia, dan sering ada perdebatan hate speech kayak gitu. Begitu juga dengan yang di Malaysia sendiri gitu. Jadi gimana ya, kalau misalnya kita ada Dr. Mehmet yang benar-benar paham gitu pemikirannya Tengku Lukman Sinar. Kalau misalnya dia masih hidup sekarang, dia akan bicara apa ya? Menanggapinya bagaimana? Itu aja. Makasih.
Terima kasih Ibu Bu Nia. Di sini Nia ada 5 mungkin dah. Nidal. Oke, mungkin itu bisa dijawab oleh Pak Dr. Faisal. Mungkin pertama terkait dengan kemelayuan yang dimaksud, ya mungkin yang seperti apa sebenarnya. Kemudian jikalau Tengku Umar ada pada hari ini, gitu kan, pandangannya terhadap Melayu dan situasi saat ini bagaimana?
Ya, saya membaca dokumen-dokumen yang ditulis oleh Sinar. Itu saya melihat Melayu yang bayangkan Lukman Sinar itu adalah Melayu setelah merdeka. Dalam hal ini komunitas etnis. Kalau mau dilebarin dikit, Islam. Jadi definisinya selain rasial, pertama istana, Melayu istana, rasial, kemudian Islam. Tapi kemudian ini dianggap satu paketan, satu integrasi, ya. Islam dan Melayu itu sama, sudah larut. Kemudian dalam konteks kebangsaan baru, itu adalah bagaimana Melayu itu bangkit sebagai sebuah identitas, sebagaimana dia pernah berjaya di masa sebelumnya. Maka Lukman Sinar berpikir dia harus mempromosikan ajaran-ajaran, nilai-nilai, adat istiadat yang waktu itu memang kegelisahannya generasi baru tidak mengenal itu sama sekali. Karena dalam tulisan-tulisan sejarah, dalam buku-buku sejarah di sekolah tidak ada. Nah, ini kepentingan. Jadi dia men-challenge katakanlah wacana dominan tentang sejarah nasional yang tidak banyak memberi ruang pada sejarah negerinya. Dan itu sangat berpengaruh. Ini kan penting bagi masyarakat kami di sini, kira-kira begitu. Itu dalam konteks itu Melayu yang dia bayangkan. Menurut saya, berdasarkan pembacaan saya atas dokumen-dokumennya. Nah, itu kalau kita lakukan misalnya wawancara atau perbincangan kepada generasi-generasi sekarang, katakanlah yang usia 40-50 tahun, itu mereka merasa bahwa kalau tidak membaca tulisannya Tengku Lukman Sinar tentang kerajaan Serdang, tentang adat Melayu, apa itu keraton dan seterusnya, mereka tidak dapat bacaan itu dari tempat lain. Artinya mereka tidak akan tahu tentang itu. Hasilnya mereka tidak mengenal identitas mereka sendiri. Kalau misalnya saya sebagai Melayu, atau saya sebagai bagian orang yang hidup di area Melayu, ini seperti apa? Saya sebagai orang Jawa, saya hidup di area Melayu. Nah, kalau kita ikut definisi Anthony Reid, saya ini ikut peradaban Melayu. Tapi tanpa membaca Lukman Sinar, saya akan gugup hidup di sini, kira-kira begitu. Jadi disitulah warisan intelektual Lukman Sinar ini sangat berharga untuk memahami identitas Melayu itu sendiri dan hidup di area Melayu itu. Di buku sejarah tidak kita temukan. Itu yang pertama. Pertanyaan kedua, itu pertentangan identitas itu dalam hemat saya tidak terlalu tidak cukup ditulis oleh Lukman Sinar, ya, karena mungkin di masa itu tidak begitu banyak pertentangan publik soal Melayu Malaysia dengan Melayu Sumatera. Tapi dari wawancara dengan keluarga, kemudian dokumen-dokumen yang kami dapatkan, itu tidak ada pertentangan persis atau yang perlu dipertentangkan antara Melayu kita dengan Melayu Malaysia. Bahkan Sinar menganggap dia karena begini ya, dia kan keluarga keraton, dia membayangkan Melayu itu juga sebenarnya negara. Melayu itu adalah pemerintahan. Sehingga dia berkata, lebih enak hidup di Malaysia daripada di Indonesia. Dalam hal bagaimana Melayu itu terjaga, gitu kira-kira. Dalam konteks ini, saya menganggap Melayu dalam perspektifnya Lukman Sinar adalah pemerintahan yang itu menjaga agama, yang itu menjaga ras Melayu itu sendiri, menjaga adat istiadatnya dan seterusnya. Nah, dalam perubahan sosial politik yang terjadi di masa dia hidup, dia mungkin memperbandingkan lebih enaklah Melayu Malaysia daripada Melayu di Sumatera terutama. Sama soal reservasi kehidupan sosial politik. Kira itu pembacaan saya terhadap data-data yang ada. Terima kasih. Mehmet, you can add any information?
By your permission, Dr. Amin, may I say a few things?
Yes, of course.
Number one, I mean, the first question. In fact, I mentioned implicitly in my first page of the second presentation, means that Sinar spared his entire life for the study and a revival of Malay culture. So this is two dimensions what we observe. Number one, micro level. He was a member of a Kerajaan, historically legitimate, powerful, different, right? Second, macro level. He did not disregard, ignore, oversimplify the other elements of Malayness in Sumatra, in other portions of the Malay archipelago, including Malay Peninsula. So he, as again, I will refer to my own conceptualization. When he was building himself, he started from his own native personal self. Then he enlarged his conceptualization, his analysis, his institutionalization, enlarged until where he could reach. One example, macro level. Of course, Serdang was recognized during his own time because of his writings, his ideas, his argumentation. Second, he often visited international conferences led by Dunia Malay, Dunia Islam, administered some other Malays in Malacca, in Federation of Malaysia. So there are other places as well. But what I say, Dunia Malay, Dunia Islam as a conceptualization or institutionalization of Malayness globally in all Malay archipelago, accepted, supported, advocated by Tengku Lukman Sinar. He did not focus, kept his own ideas just Serdang. No, he expanded. That's why I told or not, I am not sure. Another argument of mine, he invited all circles to understand, number one, Malay, and he invited Malays to understand the others. This is for harmony. I think I missed because of the time management. He was looking for harmonious existence with all individuals, all groups. This is not politics, right? But exactly, it is politics. But the second answer, that's the second question, it is hypothetical. I mean, if he were today exist, what he will do. Again, when we talk about the identity of politics or political identities, these are very liquid, very mobile, very pragmatic, very insincere in contemporary stage. What we observe, not only just Malay world, the nation states over here, but globally. That's why we live in a very crisis moment in globally. But again, even the political stage, I may say that he stands still in cultural zone because it is very ontologic, very epistemic. Then he can build the identity without disregarding the others. Thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Muhammad. Political is political wicked, right? It can be really hypothetical if the Tengku Umar still alive right now. Okay, now I'm gonna give a chance to Tengku Rizkan. Ya, silakan Bapak Tengku Rizkan.
Oke, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
So, saya akan sedikit menambahkan dari pertanyaan Ibu siapa tadi?
Ibu Nia.
Iya. Prefer dalam bahasa Indonesia, bahasa Melayu atau bahasa Inggris?
Malay is good.
Melayu serdam.
Melayu.
Oh,
Baik. Salam untuk Prof. Mehmet dan Dokter. Apa kabar, Pak Dokter? Jadi pertanyaannya bagus sekali tadi dari Ibu, dan izin saya menambahkan, saya kira yang disampaikan oleh Prof. Mehmet tadi benar tentang makro dan mikro. Alhamdulillah saya mengalami langsung belajar dengan beliau, bukan hanya lewat buku-buku, tapi bagaimana beliau menyampaikan pikiran-pikirannya. Tentunya satu hal yang perlu digarisbawahi, Tengku Lukman Sinar itu adalah warga negara Republik Indonesia. Dan dia mencintai negaranya dengan caranya yang khas. Ya. Dan dia selalu terlibat dari urusan-urusan nasional itu, sehingga negara kemudian menghargai beliau. Masyarakat sejarawan Indonesia memberi penghargaan kepada beliau sebagai sejarawan utama negara setelah beliau mangkat. Ya. Saya hadir juga di acara itu di Jakarta, dan buku-bukunya banyak dijadikan referensi di kajian-kajian akademik. Memang jarang di bidang politik ya, tapi di bidang sejarah dan juga kesenian, karena beliau seorang seniman juga. Terkait tentang konsep kemalayuan yang beliau pikirkan, orang-orang Serdang itu dari awal memang heterogen. Jadi prinsip dasar kemelayuan menurut Tengku Lukman Sinar ada 3 definisinya, yaitu identitas Melayu itu, satu Islam, kedua adalah apabila seseorang itu bisa berbahasa Melayu dengan berbagai macam corak, ya, dengan akhiran A, akhiran E, akhiran O, itu tidak ada masalah. Ketiga adalah tahu adat istiadat Melayu. Tidaknya mungkin menggunakan yang seperti umum, paling umum pun tidak ada masalah. Ya, menggunakan kemudiannya menjadi nasional, tetapi itu bagian dari budaya istiadat Melayu, mengenakan kopiah, memakai baju Melayu, memakai apa namanya kain dengan cara khas Melayu seperti itu. Nah, itu sudah cukup menjadikan seseorang itu menjadi Melayu. Tetapi kembali lagi, saya pernah diskusi bahwa di Melayu itu sendiri ada lagi ininya klasifikasi, bukan kasta ya. Ada klasifikasi, yaitu Melayu Mustatim, yaitu Melayu yang memang sudah turun-temurun memang Melayu. Kemudian ada Melayu Semenda, itu adalah orang Melayu yang menjadi orang Melayu karena perkawinan dengan orang-orang suku lain yang menikah dengan orang-orang Melayu. Dan yang ketiga adalah orang Melayu Resam, yaitu satu suku bangsa yang menetap di wilayah Melayu sehingga sudah menjadi bagian dari orang-orang Melayu dan dianggap bukan dianggap tapi sudah menjadi bagian dari orang Melayu. Mungkin seperti Dr. Riza itu kami tidak memandang beliau sebagai orang Jawa lagi, tetapi beliau adalah orang Melayu gitu. Karena kalau pemahaman apa yang disampaikan oleh Tengku Lukman itu adalah Melayu ini adalah sebuah di satu sisi dia sebuah bangsa, tapi dia juga di satu sisi adalah sebuah identitas apa namanya budaya, entitas budaya gitu. Nah, begitu apa yang bisa saya sampaikan. Kalau tentang pandangan beliau, sangat nasionalis sebetulnya. Dia tidak pernah membandingkan sebetulnya negara-negara mana yang jauh lebih bagus untuk orang Melayu, tetapi memang apa yang terjadi di Indonesia ini kita bisa lihat bahwa sebetulnya populasi orang Melayu di Indonesia ini jauh lebih banyak daripada Malaysia, Brunei maupun Thailand. Tetapi persoalannya adalah positioningnya itu orang Melayu ini di Indonesia mengalami sebuah kejadian, sebuah katastrofi dalam eksistensinya di wilayah Sumatera, di Kalimantan. Sampai hari ini, alhamdulillah masih banyak orang yang menggunakan bahasa Melayu. Seperti kawan-kawan di Jambi, itu banyak sekali menggunakan bahasa Melayu, di Pontianak. Tetapi justru dibenturkan bahwa orang-orang yang berbahasa Melayu di Sumatera, khususnya di Indonesia, di Sumatera dan Kalimantan, itu dianggap pro-Malaysia. Padahal itu adalah bahasa tradisinya kita orang Melayu gitu. Saya mengikuti juga dari fenomena-fenomena yang terjadi di media sosial, khususnya anak-anak Kalimantan Barat yang hari ini tuh dijudge ya, dihakimi sebagai orang yang pro Malaysia dan segala macam. Itu bahasa ibu mereka, berbahasa Melayu itu. Nah, jadi inilah framing-framing yang terjadi. Tentu ketika Tuanku Lukman Sinar itu masih hidup, dia sangat concern dan dia mengatakan bahwa ke depan akan terjadi hal seperti ini. Akan terjadi hal seperti ini. Padahal sebetulnya kalau Indonesia ini mau melihat dengan jelas, dengan benar, ya maka saya akan mengatakan harus menghentikan upaya-upaya yang walaupun mungkin tidak terskema atau tertulis dan segala macam, ya diskriminatif terhadap orang Melayu gitu. Jangan seperti itu lagi, karena ini adalah aset bangsa yang luar biasa gitu. Adat istiadat dan orang-orang Melayu, bumi-bumi Melayu yang ada di Sumatera dan Kalimantan ini adalah sesuatu yang sangat-sangat berharga sebetulnya. Nah, beliau concern dengan itu memang. Kedua, tentang peran ya, tentang peran itu. Beliau adalah seorang sultan, tetapi di satu sisi beliau juga seorang sejarawan. Beliau juga seorang akademisi, dia seorang pendidik, menjadi dosen di Fakultas Hukum, menjadi dosen di Fakultas Ilmu Budaya. Nah, karena secara prinsip tidak lama sebelum beliau mangkat itu saya sempat diskusi tugas, misalnya kebetulan saya juga dari Serdang, tugas kami ini salah satu yang amat penting bagi beliau adalah jangan berhenti berkontribusi untuk masyarakat. Itu yang
Maaf Pak, itu suaranya tidak terdengar. Tidak terdengar, Pak.
Sudah terdengar?
Nah, sudah, Pak.
Oke. Jadi pesan terakhir beliau itu adalah bahwa kami orang-orang Serdang ini, khususnya dari Kesultanan Serdang, harus terus berkontribusi. Karena ini yang jarang didengar orang, bahwa beliau memberikan definisi tentang apa itu bangsawan-bangsawan Melayu. Bangsawan menurut beliau adalah orang-orang yang hidupnya dari bangun sampai tidur lagi, sampai bangun lagi adalah orang-orang yang harus memikirkan bangsanya. Oleh karena itu dia disebut bangsawan. Dan dia harus melayani, bukan untuk dilayani. Itu falsafah beliau. Makanya beliau diminta jadi guru. Diminta jadi apapun itu. Selama dia bisa melayani masyarakat, dia akan layani. Dia menulis buku, karena itulah perjuangan-perjuangan yang bisa dia lakukan untuk kemaslahatan masyarakat. Tentu dia akan menulis buku tentang apa yang dia pahami, yang dia pelajari. Dia mungkin tidak menulis buku banyak tentang politik atau apa, tidak gitu. Karena beliau menyenangi sejarah sebetulnya kan gitu. Nah, kemudian sampai hari ini pesan beliau itu adalah koleksi buku-bukunya itu dibuka menjadi taman bacaan masyarakat. Jadi hari ini walaupun beliau sudah tidak ada, tetapi warisannya itu tetap melayani masyarakat sampai detik ini. Jadi itu yang kami lihat, yang kami junjung tinggi, nilai-nilai yang beliau tinggalkan. Dan kemudian juga seperti penelitian yang dilakukan oleh Profesor Mehmet, Dr. Riza dan kawan-kawan semua itu sangat kami memberi akses itu apapun itu yang diperlukan boleh, karena kami meyakini bahwa pikiran-pikiran beliau itu sifatnya adalah konstruktif gitu. Dia jadi membangun, dan memang dia membela eksistensi orang Melayu di Indonesia khususnya. Kira-kira demikian tambahan dari saya.
Oke, terima kasih banyak Pak Tengku Rizky.
Pak Amin sudah bisa di closing. Mr. Mehmet ada agenda lain.
Oh ya, oke. Terima kasih banyak, ladies and gentlemen. Because due of time, kita harus akhiri webinar kita pada hari ini. On behalf of the organizing committee, I would like to express our sincere gratitude to our distinguished speaker, Prof. Mehmet. Thank you so much, Prof.
Ya, terima kasih banyak.
And Dr. Faisal Riza, as well, the family of Tengku Lukman Sinar, Bu Dr. Mira, and Pak Tengku Rizkan. Ya. Terima kasih banyak, thank you so much. We hope the
Ini Pak Alvin,
discussion.
kebetulan saya sedang di Jambi nih.
Wih, mantap, Prof.
Ya. Ada pelantikan ISMI tadi malam sama Pak Gubernur.
ISMI itu apa, Prof? ISMI apa, Prof?
Oh ya, Ikatan Sarjana Melayu Indonesia. Ini kami bersama dengan Syah Bandar, ada
Masya Allah.
ketum ISMI, ada si adik juga. Kami sedang makan tempoyak ini. Lanjutkan. Sorry saya akan mengganggu.
Ya. Terima kasih banyak, Pak. Okay. We hope today's discussion enrich our understanding of Tengku Lukman Sinar. Thank you for joining us, and we look forward to welcoming your to our future international webinar series. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam. Terima kasih Mr. Mehmet, Pak Dr. Faisal, Bapak Ibu silakan diisi link absen untuk sertifikatnya di chat.
Thank you,
Silakan
Prof.
ya Bapak Ibu.
Mehmet. Tasyakur.